All right, well, how about Charles? You put 10 minutes on the clock, and I briefly tell Mike about how we're having a Women in Technology luncheon at PDC. WIT, which is great that Charles is here today because we do the Women in Technology series on PDC, although we're a wee bit behind because
we have a very special one that we might release.
Yes.
To coincide with that.
That's right. So men and women both are welcome, by the way, at the Women in Technology luncheon. Yeah, it's all about diversity.
Cool.
But show up. It's a lunch session, November 18th.
Excellent.
So, and one other thing I want to mention is that Friday, November 13th.
Ooh, Friday the 13th.
You and I are going to be back for something very special that day. So look here in this space on Channel 9. You're going to hear about it. It's a surprise.
Do I know about this yet?
No.
Wow.
Excellent.
True surprise.
So
it will be
look
good.
for that.
Friday the 13th.
But enough about us.
Yeah, enough about us.
Yes.
So Charles Torrey, everyone knows from Channel 9 fame. So he is running a very special series at PDC, the Technical Leaders Series. First time we've ever done this. And you describe it.
Me describe it.
Yeah.
So the idea behind it is we have at Microsoft what we call technical fellows, distinguished engineers, and people like this who actually are on the bridge, right? If you think about Microsoft like a starship, it's the bridge. They're the ones that are looking out into the galaxy of computing and figuring out where do we need to go? What are the hard problems? How do we solve these hard problems? And then they guide product teams across the company to work together to solve big industry problems. So I wanted to get a bunch of those guys down there. And we managed to get, I think, 6 or 7.
It's a lot.
And they're going to cover the range of really the lowest level of all of our systems, which is kernel, which is, of course, Mark Rusinovich. People might wonder why he's at the PDC. He's usually doing tech ed. Well, most developers at the PDC write applications that run on Windows.
You bet.
No application on Windows runs outside the context of at least some point dealing with the kernel, period. So they've done amazing work in Windows 7. People know this. They're going to learn a lot about development. So he's going to be there in a very long session. It's going to span 2 sessions to really dig into all the great things he's done. And, of course, all the kernel developers that work around him.
Yeah, and so, I mean, any app that runs on top of Windows interacts with stuff this guy is working on and thinking about on a daily basis.
You better believe it. He's one of the world's best hackers, by the way, which is why we hired Mark Rusinovich.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very
and he's a good hacker. I mean, he's Superman.
That's right.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
But he's one of the best.
I'm looking forward to that one.
So you said that we're going to have 6 or 7 of these technical fellows on site, and you said that's a lot. I just want it for context. I mean, we only have 30 of these folks at the company?
Yes.
I mean, these are very special, very elevated, big brains.
Yes, they are. They're all leaders in the industry.
In the industry, not just Microsoft.
And they've been in the industry for a long time.
Oh, my goodness.
If you read the bio on a lot of these folks, they've been everywhere, done everything kind of people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, look at, for example, who's coming down. Look at Burton Smith, right? A big thing we always talk about is parallel computing and the many-core concurrency problem. Well, the hardest part of that problem is programming.
Yep.
The hardware guys, though they haven't designed their multi-core systems perfectly, and Burton's talked about that before, they have work to do. Most of the work is on us to figure out how to take advantage of all this power. And it's going to get crazy. Burton's going to be down there talking about his thoughts on the future of parallelism and basically writing parallel code, the programming side of the problem. And he's a supercomputing expert. He's like one of the world's greatest supercomputer designers from a hardware perspective and a software perspective and a language perspective. So he'll also be on a panel as part of this, which is called The Future of Programming. That's going to be, of course, emceed by the great Eric Meyer. Everybody loves Eric. And it's going to just have a tremendous cast. So quickly, Butler Lamson.
Yeah.
Famous in the industry. I mean, the guy is the godfather of general purpose computing for personal computing anyway. Has done amazing work. He's actually going to talk about the next wave of personal computing, which is, we always talk about 3 screens, blah, 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 which is important. He's going to talk about the next wave, which is called embodiment.
Ooh.
So embodiment is bringing computation to things that you take for granted, your earrings, your glasses. Imagine if you have glasses on. You're walking down the street. The glasses say, that's Charles. You used to work with him at Microsoft. Even though he's looking scruffy, clearly he doesn't have a job. Maybe give him a beer.
Exactly.
It'll tell you.
Yeah.
That's Charles Torrey.
So
hey, Charles, how are you?
Augmented reality.
It's augmented reality. You got it, but it's going to be in subtle ways. I mean, you already have things in your car, but embodiment meaning it can become part of what we use.
That's
like our
really
clothes.
out there.
It's out there.
I love it.
How do you program that?
Yes.
What does it mean to write an embodiment-enabled application? How does it interact with the cloud, the client? It's very interesting stuff. He's going to talk about that, and Butler is he's a genius. So what, I want to make one thing clear for everybody who's going to come see these. You're going to be learning about very specific. You're going to be learning about very specific products at the PDC, which has been done by you guys and Michael
regular
Sussman.
breakout sessions.
Regular breakout sessions. Learn how to do things. When you come into these sessions, please open your mind a little bit.
Yes.
Don't expect for them to teach you specific details of some API or blah blah blah.
Right.
This is about the future of computing from our perspective.
Very cool.
And remember, these are industry-wide leaders. They don't work in a vacuum. They have friends that work at companies all over the world.
And these are inspirational too. I mean, just talk through the augmented reality scenario there in the future computing. I mean, those are inspirational. And I know we get a lot of attendees who like to unplug for that week.
Yes.
And think about problems that are different than the problems they work on back in the office.
Yeah, this is
Totally.
exciting.
So this is great.
And a lot of these folks reside in Microsoft Research.
Some of them do.
Not all of them, but some of them do. And so my point is, as everyone knows, Microsoft puts a lot of money into Microsoft Research. And so a lot of this stuff may seem like so out there that it would never actually happen, but this stuff could come to fruition one day.
Well, this stuff will come to fruition. I mean, if you look at what Dave Campbell is doing, so he's talking about the fact that data is everywhere. There's 5 billion tweets last week, right? So there's data all over everywhere. It's distributed. It doesn't necessarily make sense in context with other data. So you have this giant sea of data. How do you write algorithms to make sense out of it for users? And they're going to learn about some interesting approaches at PDC. So it's all about data. It's all about client and cloud computing. And the client is also going to evolve in this cloud computing game. And that's something developers have to understand. There's
it's not just
green
the back end,
fields.
not just services. Got to
Client.
the client.
Dude, for developers out there, this should be a very exciting time because the fields are unbelievably green, right? We're, as Amitabh says, we're 5 minutes in the first quarter of cloud computing, which means the client hasn't really adapted yet. We're not exactly sure what to do. So developers are going to be able to write and build really good businesses in the next 5 to 10 years.
Wow.
And learn from these guys. Listen. And go to the panel, man. And also, from last year, we did a languages panel.
We did.
And that's when I set up, and I did it, to get Gilad on there and Anders and stuff. And some of the feedback I saw in the comments were, this seems sort of like they were just talking about broad kind of academic things. This year, it's not going to be quite like that. But I do want people to understand, it's not, you don't come to the panel to learn about something specific.
Right.
You're going to get the experts in the domain are going to talk about specific problems that you're learning about at PDC. Parallelisms, a lot of native code at PDC, so Herb Sutter is going to be on the panel. And learn about how to make sense out of it all and what these people think about where program is going. Or do we need new languages? What's going on? Are the languages getting too old? Do they have too much baggage in history? Steeped in history, baggage. Anyway, come unplug your mind, drink some coffee, ask some questions.
I think it's fantastic. I know internally I describe the PDC sometimes, excuse me, as like the headlights of the car. It's always kind of illuminating where we're heading. This is like high beams. That's the way I tend to think about this. This is even further out.
Yes.
Right. Some of the scenarios you're describing won't happen for quite a long time, or they may never happen, to be honest with you. But it's a great chance to hear from the folks that are at the top of the industry, and where, based on their history and experience, where they think things are going,
inspired.
and interact a bit. Right. It's not just them standing up on stage and talking.
Thank you.
For all of our sessions, we make sure that there's some good Q&A time.
Yep.
And of course, these folks are all around the event center. And interacting with them is just as easy as walking up and starting a conversation.
So for all the managed developers out there that are interested in garbage collection, Patrick Dessoud, Lunch Talk, Future of GC, ask him questions. Cool.
Very good.